This color you see in some pigeons is not a coincidence, and it's not a separate breed. It is one of the most fascinating genetic color patterns in pigeons, known as Andalusian. Stay with us and discover valuable information about this beautiful color. In this video, we will briefly explore what Andalusian really is, how this unique color appears through genetics, why it can show different shades, and how it can be found across different pigeon breeds. When people hear the term Andalusian pigeon, many immediately think it refers to a specific breed of pigeon. However, this is actually a common misconception. The Andalusian is not a breed at all. It is a color pattern that can appear in different types of pigeons. In pigeon genetics and breeding terminology, we clearly separate two important concepts: a breed, which refers to the structure, body type, and origin of a pigeon line, and a color, which refers to the visual appearance of its feathers. The Andalusian belongs to the second category. It is a distinctive feather coloration that gives pigeons a deep, rich, and often metallic-looking tone, usually ranging between dark blue, slate, and blackish shades, depending on lighting and genetic expression. What makes this color especially interesting is that it does not define the pigeon's shape or type. Instead, it modifies how the feather pigment appears on the bird. This is why you can see completely different pigeons with different body structures carrying the same Andalusian coloration. The beauty of this color lies in its depth, contrast, and visual complexity, which makes it highly appreciated among pigeon breeders around the world. The name Andalusian can be confusing at first. It does not mean that this pigeon color originated directly from Andalusia in Spain. Instead, the naming is historically linked to the similarity of this color pattern with other animals or breeds that were associated with that region, or similar terminology in genetics and breeding. In poultry and pigeon genetics, the term Andalusian is also used in reference to a well-known blue coloration found in certain chickens, often called Andalusian blue. Over time, breeders started using the same term to describe a similar visual effect in pigeons, so the name is more of a genetic and descriptive label rather than a geographical origin of the pigeons themselves. This is an important clarification because many people incorrectly assume that Andalusian pigeons come from Spain or represent a specific regional breed, which is not true. To truly understand the Andalusian color, we need to go deeper into genetics. This coloration is not random. It is the result of specific genetic interactions that affect how pigment is expressed in the feathers of pigeons. The two main genetic components involved are commonly referred to as indigo and spread. Indigo is a gene that modifies the base blue pigment in pigeons, changing the tone and intensity of the color and creating deeper or altered shades. Spread, on the other hand, is a gene that controls how the pigment is distributed across the feathers. Instead of allowing patterns like bars or checks to appear clearly, it spreads the pigment more evenly across the entire body. When these genetic factors combine on a blue-based pigeon, they can produce what breeders recognize as the Andalusian phenotype. However, genetics is rarely simple or linear. The final appearance of the bird depends on multiple factors, including genetic background, modifiers, and how certain genes interact with each other. This is why no two Andalusian pigeons always look exactly the same, even if they share the same basic genetic foundation. This natural complexity is one of the reasons why breeders often spend years trying to stabilize or predict certain color outcomes within their lofts, especially when working with indigo-based combinations. One of the most important things to understand about the Andalusian color is that it is not a single fixed shade. Many beginners assume that there is only one correct Andalusian look, but in reality this color expresses itself in multiple variations. Some pigeons may appear very dark, almost black when viewed from a distance. Others may show a deep navy blue under normal lighting, while some may look lighter bluish grey depending on genetic expression and feather condition. Lighting plays a huge role in how this color is perceived. The same bird can look significantly different under sunlight compared to shade or indoor conditions. Feather quality also influences the visual effect. A well-conditioned bird with clean, tight feathers will display a much more intense and uniform coloration compared to a bird in poor condition or molting. Because of this variability, experienced breeders never judge Andalusian color based on a single appearance. They consider consistency, depth, and genetic stability. In fact, in serious breeding programs, birds are often evaluated at different times of the day and under different lighting conditions to better understand how stable their color expression really is. A very common mistake in the pigeon community is labeling Andalusian as a breed. This is incorrect. The Andalusian is purely a color pattern, not a breed classification. A pigeon breed refers to its structure such as head shape, body size, feather type, and flying or show characteristics. The Andalusian color does not influence these physical traits. Instead, it can appear across multiple breeds, meaning two pigeons can look completely different in body type, but still share the same Andalusian coloration. Understanding this distinction is essential for anyone involved in pigeon breeding or genetics, because it prevents confusion when identifying birds and also helps breeders make more accurate pairing decisions when planning future generations. One of the fascinating aspects of the Andalusian color is its ability to appear in multiple pigeon breeds. Since it is a genetic color pattern, it is not restricted to a single lineage. You can find Andalusian coloration in racing pigeons such as racing homers, in fancy pigeons bred for exhibition and beauty, and in other mixed or specialized breeding lines depending on the breeder's selection. However, even though the color remains similar, the overall appearance of the bird can change drastically depending on the breed. For example, a racing pigeon with Andalusian coloration will look slim, aerodynamic, and athletic, while a fancy pigeon with the same color may look more compact, decorative, and structured for exhibition. This clearly shows that color and breed are completely independent concepts in pigeon breeding, and this separation is one of the key principles in modern pigeon genetics. Within Andalusian coloration, there are also different genetic expressions commonly referred to as single-factor and double-factor forms. A single-factor Andalusian typically shows the classic and most recognized appearance, a rich dark blue or slate tone with depth and variation depending on lighting. A double-factor Andalusian occurs when the genetic combination is stronger or duplicated, which can result in noticeable changes in appearance, sometimes making the bird lighter or altering the balance of tones across the body. In some cases, double-factor birds may show more uniform coloration, while in others they may lose some of the depth seen in single-factor expressions. This variation is another reason why Andalusian is considered a complex and highly interesting genetic color pattern among breeders, especially those who focus on advanced pairing strategies and long-term line development. Breeders appreciate the Andalusian color for several reasons. It has a strong visual appeal because the deep and shifting tones of the feathers create a striking appearance that stands out in any loft. It also has a level of rarity compared to more common pigeon colors, since Andalusian expressions require specific genetic combinations, making them more selective. In addition, it offers genetic interest for breeders who focus on improving lines and experimenting with color genetics, which makes it a valuable trait in breeding programs. Many experienced breeders also value the challenge of producing consistent Andalusian results across multiple generations, as it requires careful selection and understanding of how indigo and spread interact over time. Identifying a high-quality Andalusian pigeon is not just about color alone. A strong example should show deep, consistent pigmentation, clean and uniform feather condition, clear visual intensity under different lighting conditions, and genetic stability in reproduction. However, experienced breeders evaluate the bird as a whole, including its structure, health, and balance, not just its color. A good Andalusian pigeon is therefore a combination of genetics, condition, and overall quality rather than just visual appearance. This holistic evaluation is what separates beginner observations from professional breeding assessment. In conclusion, the Andalusian color in pigeons is a perfect example of how genetics can help us discover beauty and variation in the animal world. It is not a breed itself, but a color pattern that can appear across different pigeon types. It is the result of complex genetic interactions, mainly involving indigo and spread factors. Its appearance can vary significantly from deep dark tones to lighter bluish shades depending on genetic expression and environmental conditions. Understanding the Andalusian color allows us not only to appreciate the beauty of pigeons, but also to discover the science behind their appearance. In the end, what makes Andalusian truly fascinating is not just how it looks, but how it is produced. If you enjoyed discovering the story behind the Andalusian color and learned something new today, make sure to join our pigeon community by subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing more valuable information, rare colors, fascinating genetics, and amazing stories from the world of pigeons. Do not forget to share your opinion in the comments. We would love to know if you have ever seen an Andalusian pigeon, owned one, or worked with this beautiful color before. Every comment, like, and subscription helps this channel grow and allows us to bring you more educational content about pigeons from around the world. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.